What's going on? This is Marcus from Pro Fan Talk. A little post-game stuff going on. The Eagles got in that ass yesterday. All that smack talk of what the Giants was going to do. The Eagles were showing rust. Daniel Jones had been playing MVP-like football the last 4 to 5 weeks and all of that kind of stuff. If you don't get anything else from me in this video, get this one thing. All of those media heads on ESPN and Fox Sports and whatever channel that you watch, there is a difference when you commentate on what you see from watching film and watching highlights. It seems like most of these guys today, they get their information from highlights and they know what the deal is, because people are going to join in whether they like you or not. If they like you, they're going to join in and promote what you're talking about. If they don't like you, they're going to join in just so they can throw shade your way or tell you why you're wrong or whatever the situation is, troll you. But at the end of the day, like and hate, they're both joining in the conversation and they getting the clicks and the likes and the views and all of that kind of stuff. So I understand the algorithm of how all of this stuff works, and I get it. It is very easy to tell when you're watching these dudes which people watch tape and which people watch highlights. I posted the video last week about the 5 things that the Eagles must do to win the game. The first thing was run the ball. We had to run the ball with Miles Sanders, and that's exactly what we did. Miles Sanders ended up 17 carries, 90 yards, 5.3 yards a carry. Kenneth Gainwell got in the action, 12 carries, 112 yards, 9.3 yards a carry. He had an average game until he busted that long one at the end. Boston Scott added 6 carries for 32 yards. Overall, our run game was pretty damn good. Jalen Hurts had 9 carries for 34 yards. I think he only had 1 sack. As a offense, 44 carries, 268 yards with a 6.1 average. 3 rushing touchdowns. Boston had 1, Gainwell had 1, Hurts had 1. That's how you spread it around. As far as passing goes, Jalen Hurts was 16 out of 24 for 154 yards. Average at best, but his QB rating was 112. You know, at one point he was 7 for 7. I believe it was on our first drive. We went right down the field and took it to him. He was on point. Jalen Hurts removed all doubt whether he was hurting, being hesitant, running the ball, all of that kind of stuff. So he answered all questions. Defense was on point. All of that stuff they were talking about, Danny Dimes and all of that nonsense, our defense held him to 7 points. 15 out of 27 for 135 yards and an interception. His rating was 53.8. We put it on him. Number 1, we were supposed to run the ball. Number 2, get the ball to Dallas Goedert. That was number 2. After seeing what Minnesota did, you knew they were going to get the ball to Dallas Goedert. He didn't have a lot of targets. Dallas Goedert got targeted 5 times. He's 5 for 58 and a touchdown. That one catch was off the chain. He caught that one-handed and scored. Almost had 2 touchdowns. The number 3 thing was attack Thibodeau to the right, or go at that defensive line, the right side, Lane Johnson side. And that's what we did by running the ball so much. Thibodeau wasn't even a factor. Thibodeau had, let me look at my notes here. Thibodeau, 4 tackles, 4 assists. No sacks. We only gave up that 1 sack where they had the strip sack on Jalen. But the one thing, I'm going to have to find a piece of that footage. If you watch that sack where they stripped the ball, you can see how strong Jalen is, because he was being held back by one of the defensive tackles, and he still managed to just muscle his way to the ball. Props to Jalen Hurts. My other point, number 4, attack Evan Neal. Haason Reddick should have had 4 sacks yesterday. He should have had 4. He whiffed on 2 sacks in a row. Back-to-back plays, he should have had sacks. And Daniel Jones just kind of backed up and kind of got out of it. And I think Haason Reddick just left his feet a little bit too early. But he should have had 4 sacks. He had a great game. Evan Neal was on the turnstile. That rookie was not ready for Haason Reddick. Was not. After the first quarter, that rookie was shook. The last thing was allowing our defensive secondary to play man-to-man. I got to look at the tape a little bit more to know the percentages of man-to-man that we played. But we got enough pressure. We got the 1 pick. We should have had 3 picks in the game. Blankenship dropped 1. Gardner Johnson dropped 1. and then we had the one by Bradbury. The Eagles finally, and that's at the most important time, they finally put together a dominant performance for 4 quarters. We didn't have to take anybody out. We put it on them. When the backups was coming in, Joe popped that receiver and just put a lick on him. From the start to the finish, we were dominant. And that is the attitude we need going into the playoffs. We got to get whoever's coming between Dallas and San Francisco. Then we got to handle our business next week, and then we went in the big game. Eagles are looking good. Everybody's on the same page. They are in a zone. Keep up the pressure, keep up the intensity, and they keep doing what they got to do. I'm sitting here watching the game right now. Cincinnati's up 27-10. I got it blurred because I don't want the copyright strike. This is a cool feature if you want to have at least something in the background. I'm trying a different angle, trying to do different things. But in any case, hometown Cincinnati Bengals are represented. And it's going to be a good game between the Bengals and the Chiefs. But as of right now, as far as the Eagles go, we got through with a clean game. I think A.J. Brown might be a little bit gimpy. I don't know what happened to him on that long pass from Jalen Hurts. We'll hear more about that as the week goes on. But for the most part, we got through with a clean game. Lane Johnson looked good. Jalen Hurts looked good. Nothing major. So we should be ready for next week with whoever we got to deal with. They got to come to Philly, and they got to deal with us. Go Birds.